Thank you for joining us for the keynote on the role of data and artificial intelligence in security innovation by Rama Vedashri, Chief Executive Officer, Data Security Council of India. Welcome, Ms. Vedashri. Ma'am, I invite you to the virtual dais.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Deepti. Thank you, ET team, for having me in this session. Interesting conference focused around data and technology. In my 30 minutes or in my keynote, I'll be focusing on role of data and artificial intelligence, particularly in cybersecurity, innovation, product development, some of the emerging use cases, and why there is a need for sharing of data and access to data for research, both from academia and industry. I think when it comes to AI and the big data and its use cases in several commercial domains, whether it is in financial services and digital payments, whether it's in healthcare, and you look at any of the other products when it looks at IoT and in manufacturing, there's a lot that is happening in AI. But I think in the last few years, the entire entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem in cybersecurity have been building the next generation technology solutions on hinging on AI, machine learning, and deep learning. And particularly, we look at some of the emerging use cases. Just to set a context for an overall, for my overall session, I think the NASCOM had a couple of reports recently. One is the NASCOM Techade, and also there's another one that they did, which was released jointly by government and NASCOM, unlocking value from data and AI. What is extremely important is now, in the last maybe 3-4 years, when you look at not just academia, but in industry, in the startup ecosystem across the world, there's so much harnessing of AI and machine learning that is happening to build really cutting edge technology products, digital products, security products, privacy aware solutions, technologies for privacy implementation and privacy monitoring are another one. That it is estimated that typically the entire growth based on AI based, if you look at in terms of how it can contribute to GDP, whether in India, NASCOM has estimated that it can be upwards of 500 billion, but globally it is estimated that by 2030 it can be almost 6.7 trillion. This is the overall leveraging of AI in based on the kind of innovation that is happening, the R&D that is happening, and the new league of digital products that are coming. This is not just cybersecurity. Cybersecurity obviously will contribute to this. This is an overall estimation of how AI and AI-led innovation across various verticals can contribute to the GDP at a global level and at an India level. And this is a research report. I urge you to look up the NASCOM website and do go through some of the highlights. Another important point is the rapid pace at which digitalization is happening, particularly post-COVID, post-pandemic, last 1 year or maybe 12 to 18 months time frame. We are saying if we look at the digital adoption momentum across verticals, whether it is financial services, healthcare, higher education, K-12 education, right? Everything to do with retail and e-commerce. Anyway, they've all led the wave in momentum of how AI is adopted. Similarly, the way proliferation of IoT and smart devices is happening across various verticals, including smart cities all over the world and in India. And if you look at even the use cases that are being deployed by state governments, central governments, so we see a lot of digitalization happening led on AI, which is actually contributing to the innovation and the ability to offer hyper-personalized services to consumers. And the consumers could be B2C consumers, healthcare consumers, it could be citizens availing government to citizen services and all of that. And it is for right from inception, we have seen BFSI, retail, e-commerce, healthcare, and of course the ITES services leveraging a lot of AI. And an important point to keep in mind is while there is this perception that AI, of course, leads to productivity. It lets you do a lot of automation. Where in any sector that you can talk about, it can also be in security monitoring, incident response, and remediation, which I'll cover a little later. While I think AI is being leveraged for its capability for automation and maybe improving productivity, but most organizations which have harnessed AI have harnessed AI for the kind of business impact and revenue impact it can create. Whether you look at the entire online e-commerce companies, or now what you're seeing, the new league of smart devices and healthcare, and the overall lifestyle and fitness trackers, and what happens in the back end in terms of analysis. In all of this, you see that it's actually the business impact and the revenue impact for which AI is being leveraged in the digital products and stack. And of course, productivity and automations are automatic, fallout or automatic benefits of that. And there's another report which essentially talks about how the incremental business value that AI led innovation or AI led products and services can happen is in terms of almost 2.9 trillion. This was a report from Gartner. So it is now established that AI is still not in the realm of hype and buzzword. It is actually getting mainstreamed in any new digital technology product and solution that is getting architected across various verticals. And obviously, cybersecurity happens to be one of the biggest use cases where AI and ML is being leveraged for the next generation cybersecurity solutions. If you look at why you need to leverage AI and ML before I come to cybersecurity, is the volumes of data. I mean, you're familiar, as more services go online, more consumers and citizens worldwide go online. Even in India, when you talk about 1 billion plus Indians going online, there is tremendous amount of data that gets generated, and it's estimated that it's almost 175 zettabytes, right? And as in when IoT devices are getting proliferated, whether it is in manufacturing, shop floor plants, whether it is in smart cities, whether it is by law enforcement, whether it is for environmental and weather monitoring, sensors of all kinds, also maybe in healthcare, office campuses, smart buildings, and commercial properties, and maybe also residential properties. When all of this data keeps getting generated in real time, being monitored, processed, analyzed, time, real time decisions are being triggered to be able to deal with this massive amounts of data, and actions being taken where the automation piece kicks in. And a lot of this is actually our workloads that are uh, getting stored and processed on the cloud, right? So the kind of compute environment that cloud gives, even when you're talking about the cloud based environment, that itself accelerates the amount of data that gets stored and processed. When you look at all of this, whether it is the hyper digitalization that is happening across verticals, several workloads, business workloads, collaboration workloads, intra-agency or intra-group, business collaborations that happen, and of course the overall national e-governance, government to citizen projects. So many of them moving to the cloud. All of this actually accentuates the cybersecurity challenges. So you cannot really now no longer rely on a stack where there's a whole lot of logs which are getting monitored by dozens of experts, and then somebody is deciding what action should be taken. Those days are done and dusted. There's no way you can address the cybersecurity challenges. This is where the AI and ML, cybersecurity solutions architected around AI and MI, or architected on top of AI and ML, is what is actually driving, whether it is at the edge level, endpoint level, whether it's at cloud security, whether it's for risk monitoring, whether it is for fraud detection, right? For any of these threat monitoring and then response and remediation, AI is getting leverage. And some of the core, solution areas of a cybersecurity enterprise technology stack, which I think have been really hinging on AI in the recent past or in the last few years, has been, of course, network security and endpoint security. Whereas now we are seeing a lot around data security and all the emerging new technology products that are coming in the area of privacy technologies, which help enterprises implement robust privacy programs are something. And so, of course, in this entire identity access management, and cloud is another area where cloud service providers themselves are leading the edge, but several other startup ecosystem, whether it is in India and other geographies, we are building a lot of cloud security based solutions around using AI, which is a core piece of the stack. The important thing to remember is when you look at leveraging AI for architecting any new digital product or service or solution, I think access to the data set is extremely important. Maybe in some verticals, where when you look at core enterprise verticals, whether it's financial services, e-commerce, that data is probably being generated, resides, and there is access within that large enterprise. But let us say, even before I come into cybersecurity and the challenges of access to data, even in healthcare, right, there's a lot of data that happens in the public healthcare domain, sensitive medical information. So, access to even healthcare data for innovation based on AI has been a little bit of a challenge compared to other, commercial business verticals. Now, when it comes to cybersecurity, I think access to the data sets for innovation, not only by startups and large industry players, but even sometimes academic institutions, PhD researchers often do struggle to get access to data. Why? Because I think cybersecurity data resides in the logs and in the security operations centers and core to a business enterprise, or a lot of it resides in national security, homeland security institutions, which are probably protecting at a country level the cyber frontiers of that country. So access to that data for academia, third party providers from industry, whether it's startups and product companies or services, has been a challenge. So it's extremely important that whenever you're talking about building a new next generation product, training it, and continuously innovating it and building that incremental innovation and feature set into it, access to the data, access to data from diverse deployment environments is extremely important. If all your data is coming from a large mature enterprise, or all your data is coming from a public sector enterprise, or it is coming from a certain vertical, it's not going to be important. You track any successful security startup, or you track any large security billion-dollar company from any part of the world. What is important is that their product stack and technology innovation has evolved because they've had a worldwide footprint and deployment of that. It goes without saying, the same thing applies to any business product, whether it's an ERP, whether it's an operating system and a mobile application. The more wider you deploy, the more diverse users start accessing it. Obviously, the product, the next version of the product can be innovated. Same thing goes with a cybersecurity product, that you get access to data, then you can look at what are the gaps in your product, what are the white spaces in your technology product, what else can you add to the product. And that is not a trivial challenge for security innovators, both, and researchers, both from industry and also academia. I would like to believe that even some academic institutions and PhD students struggle to get the data. It's also important that we get credible, authentic data based on which you can really bet your research on and come out with a market ready product, or at least a product which is going to see the probability of that product seeing success and adopted by large enterprises increases, right? So some of the things that we need to address is, how does threat intel data be shared across industries? Of course, I think there are very mature ways where at a sectoral level, let us say financial services, whether it is the FSI-SAC in the US, or there's a similar information sharing center, which I think IDRBT for RBI. At a sectoral level, some attempts have happened where there is a nodal institution which is taking care of creating that platform or a forum and a platform for which threat intel data can be shared. But it's not an easy problem. Maybe there are ways in which some best practices are shared. There are CISOs we meet, but how does threat intel data share? It's also important that data across sectors are shared, because the robustness of the innovation that you can do and the research you do depends on the diverse data that is coming from various deployment environments, which I think is the biggest challenge for security, right from, you know, diverse devices, storage devices, network and cloud, and across verticals and geographies. And how do we get partnerships going between national security organizations and industry and academia? Of course, there are several precedents in that, where several national security organizations, whether it's in US, UK, and even India, partner with some academic institution or sometimes with an industry player, where they probably give a test bed, or sometimes they're incubated, sometimes products are co-created, but there are not enough instances of that in the domain of cyber. And this is extremely important. It's not that it is not happening, it does happen. Several of our premier institutes in India or any other geography do partner with national security organizations with certs of their country. And sometimes some challenges are opened up, where are thrown, where startups and industry members are invited or researchers are invited to it. But I believe a lot more needs to happen if you really want to leverage the data, and the security incidents data, the entire threat intel data that is housed in these national security institutions. And when you look at the entire cloud-based security, there is, I think, a tremendous opportunity for the cloud service providers, and the startup and the innovation ecosystem to partner. Because I think on the cloud platforms and the cloud service providers, they really, they have a worldwide footprint, and partnering with the innovation ecosystem is another opportunity that will help us accelerate the research and innovation. An interesting thing is, cybersecurity relatively is a new use case for cybersecurity, yeah, for AI, I mean. Whereas in other case, whether in healthcare, whether it is in financial services, I think it's one of the earliest use cases for AI. An interesting point is we have seen in one survey based on an industry report that prior to 2019, maybe one out of five were deploying a next generation product, technology product, or a stack based on AI. Whereas we have seen within 1 year, the way in which the cybersecurity products and innovation ecosystem matured globally, Indian ecosystem, worldwide, I'm talking about, that it is estimated that almost 2 out of 3 enterprises have deployed an AI based security products are core to the way to their enterprise defense. And some of the use cases that are very well established is enterprise risk scoring, yeah, user and device behavioral analysis, so that you capture the rogue devices, you capture, particularly when you look at this entire emerging zero trust network architecture. I think the use cases for in the area of user and machine behavioral analysis, so that you really trust nobody and you access, you check everything, verify everything, and then authenticate and only then provide access. These are some of the issues. Otherwise, if you look at the entire fraud detection, security monitoring and responses have always been use cases for security products right from the start. And if you look at AI-led innovation, I think endpoint security and everything that is now happening at the edge continues to be, on the forefront. But we are beginning to see a lot more in the area of, user entity behavior analysis on cloud security, and also some other emerging use cases which I will talk about. What is interesting here, when we did a couple of research reports at DSCI, it is not just the startups and the security product companies. Almost when we did a complete survey of the landscape and released this report in December 2020, which is a cybersecurity product landscape in India, almost 63% of Indian cybersecurity products, both from the large product companies and the emerging startups, have AI and ML to the core of their product technology and architecting and the way the solution is built. And what is interesting is, even the large services companies which serve global enterprises and large Indian enterprises, all the maybe top 8 to 10 services companies which now have a robust cybersecurity practice, they are leveraging a lot of automation and AI, right from the way they develop, they build and do a lot of global SOCs for their enterprises, sitting out of whatever geography the SOC may be in Europe, Singapore, or Pune, or Chennai, or wherever, right? So they use a lot of AI. So services platformizing their security offerings and their enterprise monitoring, remediation, all these level 1, level 2, level 3 incidents and response and remediation. I think this is a new thing that we are seeing in the last couple of years, where services companies are beginning to platformize their services offering, and a lot of it is hinging on the kind of AI and ML algorithms that are being built into this to service global customers across the world. So in terms of AI, the most important thing I would say is, solving this problem of false positives. I think that is the one where AI has really contributed a lot, and ability to monitor and detect and probably remediate and respond in near real time, so that you are minimizing the need for specialists and experts to be able to monitor dozens and hundreds and millions of logs and incidents and events and IOCs, and come up with what should be the remediation or what should be the event that should be triggered. So I think that is one of the biggest areas that we look at. And also we look at, as more and more devices are joining the digitalization bandwidth, the devices on the edge, something which is not strictly on your corporate network. How do we make sure that we monitor those devices and look at anomalies in their behavior, and what can be done? I think this is one of the areas where we are looking at, and of course, productivity and automation have anyway been known benefits. When we did this, we did a research report on AI/ML in the Indian security startup ecosystem and product ecosystem. I think 8 solution areas really stood out where AI is being leveraged most. Some of the new ones are, of course, the cloud security, where it's not just AI/ML, but a lot of NLP is being leveraged. And another new, we have seen a lot of new startups that are emerging in the area of privacy technologies, where a lot of ML models and algorithms are being used to look at how data is being, there's entire data discovery and utilization, and is it, conforming and complying to whatever is the privacy regulations or policies of that enterprise or of the sector or of the country, right? And AppSec is another area where we are looking at a whole lot of DevSecOps. And we are coming up there. I see a lot of startups across the world in India coming up with very niche products. And I already talked about it, identity and access management. And I think we will see a lot as zero trust network architecture gets deployed and mainstreamed. And particularly when you look at from a perspective of users and devices, we see there's no way that you can deal with that problem and mitigate all the risks, except when you can actually use AI and automate a lot of the remediation. So if you look at some of the new use cases, DSCI has a National Center of Excellence in partnership with MeitY in Noida, who are continuously engaging with academia and the innovation ecosystem and the large global players to look at what are the emerging use cases and how can we make those partnerships happen, whether it is between large enterprise and a startup, or academic or a public sector research lab, maybe in the defense side or in homeland security side, or it could be, typically in public sector research lab, like organizations like CDAC and others. We're beginning to see some really emerging use cases where innovation is happening, and it is happening in India, and maybe a lot more can be done. One big thing that I wanted to call out was around IoT, right? And also probably as we move forward in this entire IT/OT integration, and how do we look at those threat vectors, and is there a role for new use cases and white spaces that can be addressed based on AI and ML, which means that kind of not only research and algorithm, but access to that data sets is extremely important. Those data sets may not be there with the academic researcher or with the startup. So how do enterprises collaborate and partner? We are also seeing in this, uh, in the post-COVID world, right? We had a certain enterprise BCP and a certain level of maturity, whereas I think the post-COVID world has completely challenged even the best practices and the most mature BCP implementations. We are looking at a more comprehensive business resilience planning. How do we look at this entire deep learning algorithms to be able to support that? That's another area we're looking at. And well, software defined networks are pretty much enterprise mainstay, but is there something that we can look at in terms of self-healing or failure recovery networks? So self-healing in networks and self-healing in software-defined networks is one use case area that is coming in, where you really need that kind of data and access to that kind of data, and of course the research to be able to leverage AI and write those or develop those kind of algorithms. SCADA is another area. I already talked about it. Again, in SCADA, while typically this entire user behavior analysis or device behavior analysis was on the IT networks, now I think there's a lot of focus with on the OT networks and SCADA. What can be done? And I think there is a lot of scope for Indian startups and product companies to innovate on this in partnership with academia. This is one area I think there needs to be a lot of partnership between large user enterprises who are deploying those SCADA networks, because SCADA networks are not something that is there in a small enterprise, but there may be in a large oil and gas company, in a large public sector power utility. So unless that partnership happens, it's extremely difficult to build a solution around that. And another area where we can expect a lot of action and some products coming out of the startup ecosystem in India is this entire monitoring the anomalies in behavior, which could be either devices or it could be users. So these are we have done a snapshot. We'll be releasing this research report soon, our NCOE team. So what this gives is that AI is extremely core to architecting a next generation solutions along with machine learning and deep learning. And depending on the problem that you're trying to solve, whether it is at a user and identity and authentication level, or it could be at data protection and privacy level, or it could be cloud, or it could be SCADA and OT level. I think there are very niche emerging AI use cases, and we need to get deep into building this, which means whether it is PhD students picking up such research teams, whether it's an academic institution partnering with a startup or incubating a startup, or a large public sector enterprise partnering with a startup and co-creating. There's a tremendous opportunity to find out these use cases and co-create a product where the test beds and the data sets are provided by that large enterprise. Otherwise, I think we will have the opportunity, but we might miss the bus in actually leveraging the data, harnessing the data, because academic institutions per se and the industry or startup ecosystem per se may not have access to the kind of data that is needed to build a next gen security product in any one of these areas. This is just a sample of areas. If we do a little more deep dive, we can come up with maybe 10 more or 12 more. And so the point I wanted to keep is role of data in AI-led innovation for security. I think partnership between the large enterprises, academic institutions, government research labs, and of course, the young entrepreneurs who are really innovating at a fast clip is important. Otherwise, we'll have these use cases, we'll have research going on, but I don't think those products will really be market ready unless the data sets are made accessible. So this is where I would like to stop, and there's time for questions. Happy to do. Otherwise, I would like to hand over.
Well, thank you, ma'am, for that engaging keynote. I'm positive that our delegates and attendees found it very valuable. Once again, let me remind all of you to download your digital certificates of participation by clicking on the icon at the bottom of your screen. Also take a break and visit the signature wall and share your thoughts and comments on the wall. With that, coming up is a power-packed panel discussion titled A New Frontier: Understanding Data Security in the Cloud. Join us for the same.